What's up, YouTube? What's up, Xtreme Gainz family? I'm Chuck. This is Xtreme Gainz. Let me start off by saying I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please don't take it as such. Hey, let's expose the AMC algo a little further. This is going to be part 3 of AMC algo exposed. This is going to be a deeper dive into it. For those of you that haven't seen the previous videos prior to this, go check those out. It'll kind of give you context leading into this. So for those of you that were in the live stream tomorrow, this is the result of the research and the DD that I dug in yesterday to find. I found it, y'all. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I'll give you a brief synopsis of what it is that went on. So we had a live stream yesterday morning. We had coffee, chat, and charts. And I've had this concept churning in my head, right? Because what we've noticed is this, and I'm going to take you into the 5-minute here and show you. This is the complete algo fractal that plays out from start to finish, is from here to here, right? Just this little, I'm going to show you on a micro. I'm going to back out as I talk, so bear with me here. And this is probably going to be a 20-25 minute video because I got to get through this, but I'm going to talk as fast as I can and try to make sense. All right, so this is the fractal. I've explained this in previous videos. Please go check it out. Box top, pennant, breakdown of 3 supports, the W, and then we either dissolve into the next box top or we have a parabolic move into the next box top out of the W, right? So what I noticed was this is ahead of the macro. The micro is ahead of the macro in the playing out of these fractals and of this algorithmic fractal that it continues to play over and over and over again. So with that being said, that lends itself to my original theory that when the algorithm is coded and inputted, it's input in a way that it's staggered, right? It could, because if it's stacked in the same time frame blocks, they would always be in the same place at the same time, and they're not. So if they're not, and this was what was churning in my head, if they're not in the same place at the same time and stacked, and they're staggered, that means one of them's leading the rest of them, right? One of them's always going to be the first. There's got to be a first, and there's got to be a last, right? When they're staggered. So if there's a first and there's a last, if I can figure out the first and which one's leading it, then I can be able to tell what's going to happen next, right? Because I'll be able to watch the first one play out, and then all the rest, like a snake or like dominoes, will follow it, correct? So do you get that concept? So with that being said, I realized that, again, micro is going to lead macro, okay? Macro is not going to lead micro. So that's just a basic common sense, I guess, theory or position, right? Is that micro is always going to lead macro. And that's what's happening. Micro is leading macro. So I dug into this what I did was, and I'll explain the whole process here. What I did was I broke down these micro movements. I went 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute charts, right? To see what I wanted to do is I wanted to create start and stop points on a macro perspective of all of these micro algo fractals playing out within them to see if they were spaced evenly throughout the movement from the run up in May and June until where we're at now, current day, current time. So what I did was I came in here to all 3 of those time frames, and I backtracked from where we're sitting currently to back to the run up, to the last run up, and I put start stop lines in on as I was viewing it in the macro in the micro time frames, right? So let me show you this, and I'm going to back out. So I showed you one here, right? And then it bled into another box top. It broke down all 3. Here's the W. Right, and then it bled into another one. It broke down. Here's the W. Parabolic, broken. Here's the other box top. Broke down, parabolic, box top, bled in, and we're into. And now we broke down. We parabolic here on the micro time frame, and we're in another box top here. We broke down, it's making the W now. We should get a parabolic. It looks like we're going to start moving up, which is, hang with me, and I'll show you why that's going to happen. So that's on the micro. So when you back out of here, let me go to the 15 minute and show you what I'm talking about. When you back out of here, you see the same thing here on a mid time frame, right? 15 minute mid time frame. Here's the W from the last one that bled into the new box top. Here's the break. Here's the pennant, box top pennant. So then it breaks down through all three. 1, 2, 3. Breaks down. W, parabolic move, next box top, and we're in that now. Okay? So what I did was, again, and you can see here's a vertical line that I put in. What I did was I put, now this isn't for this is for micro movements, but I wanted to see how it reflected looking from a macro to find out which one's leading, and I found it. I found it. I figured this out. I spent all day on this yesterday. I'm so pumped about this. I don't even know where to go yet right now. So, sorry, I get excited because I put a lot of work into this stuff. Okay, so I showed you there. All right, so then let's zoom out, and I want to show you what I ended up with, right? So when I finally got done with putting my markers in, right, this is what I ended up with. Untouched, this is what I ended up with. Once I tracked them from start to finish, this is what I ended up with. And you can see that it is equally distributed time between each one. Well, that's ironic, isn't it? I mean, it makes sense, but it's ironic, right? It makes sense, right, that an algo would be like that, okay? It's either going to be, I've said this before, stacked or staggered, right? Our time frames are stacked, right? We have the same amount of time that's taking for these micro fractals to play out, and then they show up here on a macro time frame. So now, then what I wanted to do is I wanted to view this macro time frame and come up with a synopsis, a conclusion, right? And what I do, and I'm just going to give you some insight into what I do, I start looking for similarities and or differences that repeat themselves, right? I'm only interested in what repeats itself. Unless it's something that stands out from the repetitive, then I will look into that and see what that is for, why it's there, you know, and try to find reason. It's very rare. I don't even remember a time off the top of my head that that's happened. I typically find them, and it's typically repetitive in nature, and then I write out my synopsis. So I'm gonna read something to you as you look at this, and I want you to, as I read it, kind of try to follow along. This was the synopsis I put together. I posted in Discord last night to give those guys a heads up on it. So I'm going to give it to you guys now. But look at the chart as I read this. And this was my quick kind of synopsis that I wrote. I said, I think I figured this thing out. And it aligns itself with the double bottom scenario. Each section is the same amount of time. And the entire macro algo fractal plays out within it. Okay? This entire fractal from here to where we're at is what I was tracking back, right? And that's what plays out in each one of these, not this one yet, but it's going to. In each one of these time frames, it's what plays out, okay? This entire thing is what plays out in each one of these on the micro, okay? As you can see, it is in an alternating fashion of too low, 1, 2, down here on support, too high, up here, 2, too low, down low, 1, 2. With the larger movements leading to continued downside movement into the following fractal. Larger movement leads to continued downside movement into the following fractal. Larger movement leads to continued downside movement into the following fractal. Larger movement leads to continued downside movement into the following fractal. And the smaller movements leading to upside reversals after the bottom is made. Smaller movement, W, reversal, upside move. Smaller movement, W, reversal, upside move. Smaller movement, What do you think? Okay, smaller movements also display extended bottoms alternating from end of fractal to beginning of fractal. What that is this. The smaller movements here, once it's made, they have an extension, right? In this one, the extension is at the end of the fractal, from the middle to the end. On this one, it's from the beginning to the middle. This one, I can assume, is going to be from the middle to the end, right? See what I mean? And it lends it, okay, yeah, smaller movements also display bottoms alternating from end of fractal to beginning of fractal, and it lends itself to the theory I had on them, meaning market makers, having two different outcomes of the same algo. Conclusion is that if this pattern continues, meaning in a perfect world, if this pattern continues, it would display a move to the downside and an extended bottom build out to the end of the fractal, essentially making the double-double at the confluence of support before reversing and starting a move to the upside, at a minimum similar to the previous two alike fractals, and potentially fulfilling the previous double bottom confluence of support scenario. I hope that you can see what it is that I just explained. Same time frames, same movement within the time frames, alternating fashion, right? Large movement, small movement. Large movement, small movement. Large movement, small movement, right? Bottom, support, up. Bottom, support. Okay, large movement leads to downside into the next one. Large movement leads to downside into the next one. Large movement leads to downside into the next one. Once we're in the bottom, the downside, we have downside movement, reversal to upside. We have downside movement, reversal to upside. Downside movement, reversal to upside. We have alternating extended movements in the smaller fractals, starting with the end of fractal, beginning of fractal, end of fractal. Okay? Now, with all that being said and being shown, I got one more thing for you. And this is what, on top of all of it, is the, right? If it's not already, because I'm already, when I found this is how I was. So, all right. So when we come out here to the 1 hour, okay? I started thinking to myself, we got all this alternating fashion, right? But they work in tandem. Let me go back real quick. They work in tandem, right? 1 and 2 work in tandem. 2 and 3 work in tandem. 3 and 4 work in tandem. 5 and 6 are going to work in tandem, right? And it's repeating itself, right? You see it alternating. So if that's the case and they work in tandem, is there a chance that this is more alike this? Now, I've already said they're all alike, right? Because they all display the same movements within the same equally allotted time frame. However, are the two tandems alike? Because you can see we got different movement from here to here and from here to here. But are they similar, right? Since they work in tandem. So I came in here to 1 hour. I started looking on different time frames, and here's where I found it, right? So let's look at this first. This is almost like a mini-me version of this algo, right? This is what it's doing. Check this out. This is the large one at the end. This is the small one we're in. You got the peak, dip, peak, right? After the W, right? We got the W. Got the W. I'm just going to walk it through like this. Peak, dip, peak. Peak, dip, peak. Right? Dip. Dip. Back up. Triple top. Check down. Right? And then down. Peak, dip, peak. Down. Triple top. 1, 2, 3. Down. Flat. Down. See that? This is a mini-me version of larger fractal previous to it, prior to it. Well, no way. What about here? Same thing. Can you see it already? Same thing, right? Come up. Right? Where's it at? Right here. Come up. And we come up here. Come up here. Come up here. And you got your 1, 2, 3. Come up here. And then you got your 1, 2, 3. Down. Check. Down. Check. And then down into your bottom. Right? Mini-me version of the one prior to it. Same thing here. Same thing here. Same exact movement here. Mini-me of movement prior to it. So, with that being all said, if that were to continue here, right, and you can see here, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I'm actually thinking, and I'm thinking that this whole thing is the 1, 2, right here. This here, I believe, is all of this here. When I first explained that to you, I did it micro, and I don't want to go too micro. I believe what this here, the double peak, the peak, dip, peak, is this whole thing. Peak, dip, peak, right? Then down in, inverted, right? Then down in, inverted, and then it, or no, down in right here, inverted. My bad, people. I'm trying to show you. My eyes are burnt too from all this. I've only really only slept a couple hours, but here it is. Peak, 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 peak. My bad. Down, down. Here we are here. I think what we have coming is this right here. On this, right? I think because we're down in here, right? Boom, boom. After the double peak, boom, boom. After the double peak, I think we're going to see the triple top, head and shoulders here. So we should maybe see a move up here. Triple top, head and shoulders within here, just like it did here. I don't know if this needs moved out or not. I know how some people are going to be like, well, it looks like the 31st, we're going to be done. Is that what you mean? It's not what I mean. The axis point of this can put us anywhere, okay? So this is just for visual purposes right now. And to try to get this and show clarity. And I'm trying to explain. I'm messing it up, trying to show you. I'm just excited. I got a bunch on my mind here. So anyways, that's it. There. All right. Down, flat, down, flat. I think we're going to get a move up. And then we're going to have this essentially kind of like a head and shoulders made. A move back down, right? So we move up, move back down, and then a move flat. And then we're going to start running down to the confluence of support, right? The same as this played out here on a micro level. Again, just a theory, not financial advice. I feel really good about it though. This is pretty insane. This is a deeper dive into the algo. And I think I really got it right now. This is the most locked in on this thing that I've ever felt. Again, the macro that I've shown before of descending wedges is still existent. That's, again, I made that for you guys to be a little more easier visually for you because I didn't know how it was going to be received and perceived. So that's, again, it's done well. So that's why I'm diving into these things and showing you guys more in depth what it is that my brain and my eyes do. And how I come up with these things. So I hope you can see what I just showed you. I hope it all makes sense. I hope you're just as wild and mind blown as I am at finding these. It makes me feel really good until we see something else happen that throws us off, and it hasn't yet. And like I said, this does lend itself to the previous projection of the scenario 2, double bottom scenario that I had already put out. Go check those out. It would give us the same result. Now, whether or not we get a grind out or a parabolic move out of here, I don't know for sure. It could be a mix of both. It could be one or the other. To me, I don't really care. As long as we get up out of here. That's what I'm looking forward to. So, anyways, again, hope you can see this. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know, did this blow you out as much as it did me when I found it? And yeah, like the video for me. I'd appreciate that. All the interaction that you guys do, I greatly appreciate. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'm going to be live streaming here. What time is it? I don't even have the watch. 7 o'clock. 2 hours, less than 2 hours, we'll be live streaming. We live stream on my channel here Monday through Friday, market open to market close. Come check it out. Hang out. It's a good time. I'll put all the links, Discord, and everything in the description of the video. Thank you, guys. I'll see you either in the next video or in the live stream in a couple hours. Talk to you then. Later.